स्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Would like to invite all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class who are sitting here in the temple hall and also online. So actually today the Bhagavatam class supposed to be given by one of the senior devotees. Due to non-availability, the temple authorities have instructed me to do this service. I humbly seek all of your permission and blessings to do this service. So today is a very special verse and very important verse for a sadhaka practicing devotional service. Herein, from the last 3 verses, we read that Narada Muni, after passing through many places, had come to a river, a water lake, took bath, accepted some water, got refreshed. Then he sat underneath a pipal tree or Ashwatha tree, and following the instructions given by Bhaktivedantas, he began to meditate on the Paramatma who is situated in the core of his heart. And by that meditation, he happened to have the darshan of Paramatma, who is nothing but the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his heart. But by experiencing Paramatma, he went into ecstasy. In no time, the Lord disappeared. Narada Muni got disturbed, as if a wealthy person lost all his wealth, as if a healthy person lost all his good health. So when he began to re-meditate upon the same Paramatma to have darshan once again, but he could not have. But as he was meditating, trying to meditate upon more and more, he could not. He became despondent. Then Lord Vishnu, in an Ashirira Vani, spoke to him. So he is speaking. These verses are spoken by Lord Vishnu. He said that I have given you my darshan once only in order to increase your eagerness to have me. That is enough for you. No need to try further. That is enough for you to go on. And now, in today's verse, of course, in the yesterday's verse, and that is what I have given you my darshan just once in order to increase your attachment for me, and with that attachment you can attain perfection. What kind of perfection? Sat sevaya adirgaya api. Even though you have served though Bhaktivedantas for small time, only for the 2 seasons, Varsha Rutu and Sharad Rutu. During rainy season, during Chaturmasya, the sages do not travel, they stay at one place. So because of that, the lady got the opportunity to serve them. Because this boy was the son of that lady, the lady maid servant, he also happened to serve them in those 4 months, rainy season and Sharad season. So, Sat Sevaya Adirgaya Api, even though you have served the great sages for small time, only 4 months, Jata Mai Dridamati, you have developed intense attachment for me. Your mind is firmly fixed on me. Hitva Vadyam Imam Lokam Ganta Mat Janatam Ape. So because your mind is fixed on me, in order to increase your taste for me, I have shown myself to you once. In order to see me once again, your eagerness will increase more and more. With that eagerness, if you continue, eventually, very soon, you will become one of my eternal associates. Hitva Avadyam, giving up this temporary material body in this material world, you will become one of my Vishnu Jana. That Mat Jana means Vishnu Jana. You become one of my eternal associates. So this is what Lord Vishnu is speaking to Narada. So here, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada gives one of the important aspects for the life of a sadhaka. Here in Prabhupada says, serving the absolute truth means rendering service unto the absolute personality of Godhead under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, who is a transparent via medium between the Lord and the neophyte devotee. It is only by the grace of spiritual master a living entity can know or can understand about the Supreme Lord and eventually can attain shelter at the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The neophyte devotee has no ability to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the strength of his present imperfect material senses. And therefore, under the direction of the spiritual master, he is trained in the transcendental service of the Lord. And by such training, by the spiritual master, even for some days, Adirgaya Api, the neophyte devotee gets intelligence in transcendental service. Jata Mayi Dridamati, even which leads him ultimately to get free from the perpetual inhabitation in the material worlds, Itvavadyam Imam Lokam, and to be promoted to the transcendental world, to become one of the liberated associates of the Lord in the kingdom of God. Ganta Majjanatam Asi. So this verse and purport are talking about one of the very important aspects of for a sadhaka, the role of a spiritual master in the life of a sadhaka. So today we'll try to discuss about this particular aspect of this verse. So what is the role of a spiritual master in the life of a sadhaka? So I just want to go back a few days earlier. In the last few weeks, we had celebrated so many festivals. Started with Julan Yatra, then Balram Jayanti, then Janmashtami, then Radhashtami, then Vamanadev Appearance Day, then Bhadra Purnima. This Monday we had celebrated Bhadra Purnima. In relation to Bhadra Purnima, whenever our devotees publish a poster, they write a translation, sometimes verse also. There is a verse comes in the 12th canto of Bhagavatam, one of the last verses of the Bhagavatam. This is from 12th canto, 13th chapter, the last chapter of Bhagavatam, verse number 13. There it is mentioned as Praushtapadyam Paurnamasyam Hemasimha Samanvita Dadatiyo Bhagavatim Sayati Paramam Gatim. The meaning of this verse is Praushtapadyam Paurnamasyam. Praushtapadyam means in the month of Bhadrapada. Paurnamasyam, on the full moon day. Hemasimha Samanvitam, placing Bhagavatam on a golden throne. Dada, and worshipping Bhagavatam. Dadatiyo Bhagavatam, and giving Bhagavatam in charity. Sayati Paramam Gatim. That person will go back home back to Godhead. This verse is similar to the verse we hear in Bhagavad Gita from chapter 4, verse number 9. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tattva deha punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna. So let us understand what is the relationship between both of them. So here the understanding is Praushtapadyam Paurnamasyam Hemasimha Samanvitam. The Acharyas quoting from other Puranas, they indicate that this is from Padma Purana, referring to Uttarakanda. They say that on the full moon day of Bhadrapada Mas, Sukadeva Goswami completed the narration of Srimad Bhagavatam. That was the day, the 7th day of narration got completed. That means 12 cantos of Bhagavatam completed, and Sukadeva Goswami left from that place. Eventually, as being predicted or cursed by Shringi, the son of Shamika, Takshaka came and bit Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj's body burnt into ashes. This is what happened from the external point of view. But what happened is, having heard what to do, what not to do from Srila Sukadeva Goswami, after Sukadeva Goswami left, Srila Parikshit Maharaj meditated on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then he gave up his body. He went back home back to Godhead. The body was still in the yoga posture, in that same place where he was hearing Bhagavatam. Then Takshaka came and bit the Kalevara, the dead body of Parikshit Maharaj. Then that body burned to ashes. So that is what happened. Just like Dronacharya, understanding that what he is doing not correct, he also sat in the meditation posture, gave up his body. Then Drishtadyumna came, holding his shikha, cut off his head. Something like that, something similar to that. So, if you trace back, if on Bhadra Purnima, Bhagavatam narration got completed, Bhagavatam narration had begun 7 days before. From Paurnami, if you go back 7 days, it more or less matches with Ashtami or Navami. And that Ashtami which comes in the month of Bhadrapada, which comes 7 days before Paurnami, is what we celebrate as Radhashtami. So, more likely, the narration of Srimad Bhagavatam might have begun on the day of Radhashtami. If not, if there is no overlap of Tithis or etc., it might have begun on Navami, 1 day later. But in any case, Radhashtami, the divine appearance day of Srimati Radharani, whom we glorify as Mahabhava Swarupini. We hear that Ado Shraddha, Tata Sahasam, etc., all the way up to Prema. After Prema, there are many more stages as we read from Bhakti Rasam Sindhu. The final stage is Mahabhava, and Mahabhava Swarupini is Srimati Radharani. She is also glorified as Prema Swarupini and Bhakti Pradayani and Bhakti Devi, etc. So Srimati Radharani is the personified form of Bhakti. On her appearance, another personified form of Bhakti narration began from the lotus mouth of Srila Sukadeva Goswami. On to Parikshit Maharaj, in the midst of the great assembly of the great personalities of the entire universe, starting with Narada Muni, Vyasa, Parashara, Atri, Vasishtha, Pulaha, Prutu, whomsoever you name, everyone was there in that assembly. So that is the first time in the history Bhagavatam was publicly spoken. It was made available to everyone after being compiled by Srila Vyasadeva. And Bhagavatam was another form of Bhakti, another Bhakti personified. So from that point of view, we can see the coincidence of two personalities. And the significance of the word Hemasimha Samanvitam. Bhagavatam was supposed to be kept on golden throne and worshipped. And when Bhagavatam is supposed to be kept on the golden throne? 7 days before Bhadra Purnima. For the 7 days, Bhagavatam should be kept on the golden throne and should be worshipped. What is the best way of worshipping Bhagavatam? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. And eventually it may lead to Archanam also. Archanam also can be there. Maybe we can do Archanam for in a day 3 times or 6 times, whatever it is. Every time 15 minutes or something like that. But Shravanam can be done throughout the day. And Kirtanam can be done throughout the day. Smaranam along with that. The best way to worship Bhagavatam is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, and should be done for these 7 days, 24/7. Of course, in general, every day we do, as Prabhupada recommends us, Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. Every day we have Bhagavatam classes. But in these 7 days, we should do 24/7. If any person does this in these 7 days, 24/7, following the footsteps of Parikshit Maharaj, and gives the Bhagavatam in charity to a worthy person, a worthy recipient who is supposed to hear Bhagavatam, or a worthy recipient who is supposed to speak Bhagavatam, in either way it is beneficial. And whoever does that, Sayati Paramam Gatim, they will be qualified to come back to Godhead. Why especially in the month of Bhadra and the Purnima and on the golden throne? There is another connection is that the sun travels from one after the other 12 zodiac signs in each year. Starting from the midst of April, enters into Mesha, then Vrishabha, then Mithuna, Kanya, etc. etc. In this month of Bhadra, just before Bhadra begins, sun enters into Simha Rashi. And just like sun, who is the king among all the planets, Jyotisham Ravi Ramshamam, is situated on the golden throne or Simhasana by entering into Simha Rashi. Similarly, the king among all the Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam, should be kept on the Simhasana and should be worshipped by doing Archana and also by oral reception and Kirtanam and Mananam, etc. So this is the significance of this festival known as Bhadra Purnima. So here we see that Srimati Radharani is Bhakti personified form. On her appearance day, the narration of Bhagavatam began. Bhagavatam is also another Bhakti personified form. So now, today, in the remaining part of our class, we will discuss another Bhakti personified form. The third person who is also called as Bhakti personified. So we will discuss about that personality. So now I am going to discuss a little bit technical details, taking reference from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3. Kindly bear with me. So, Ebir Bhutani Bhutatma, Mahabhutir Mahabhuja, Sa Sarjochavani Adev, Swa Matratma Prasiddhaye. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu or Karmadaksha Vishnu, for the purpose of facilitating Jiva's enjoyment, had created this material world, consisting of lower and higher inhabitants and lower and higher categories of material bodies, in which, being situated in different planetary systems, being situated in different species, the living entity comes to this material world. For what purpose? Swa matra prasiddhaye, in order to enjoy 5 tanmatras. Whatever enjoyment a living entity might want to enjoy this material world is nothing but the combination of 5 sense objects: Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, and Gandha. There is nothing beyond these 5. In order to enjoy these 5 things, Jiva comes to this material world. And Supreme Lord created this universe in order to facilitate that enjoyment. Swa matra prasiddhaye. Once Jiva's desires are fulfilled, Lord also provides the facilities for the Jiva to go back to Godhead. Swa atma prasiddhaye, in order to regain one's own constitutional position. That was the purpose with which the Supreme Lord creates this material world. Why does Lord has to create all these material worlds with so many differentiations? En maya cheshtam pumsha sthiti utpatti apyayahi anugrahas tan nivrittir atma labhaya cheshtaye. Anugrahas, by his causeless mercy, the Supreme Lord creates this material world, maintains it, and time and again annihilates it, and again recreates, remaintains, reannihilates. The thing is going on continuously. For what purpose? Out of his causeless affection towards the living entity. Though the Jiva want to enjoy separate from the Lord, but Lord never gives up the Jiva. And eventually the same Lord provides facilities for the Jiva to go back to Godhead. Anugrahas tan nivrittes. Lord provides facilities in such a way that the Jiva becomes detached from the tendency to enjoy material sense objects. Atma labhaya cheshtaye, and endeavors to regain one's own constitutional position. Ketur jivos sargade ravidya kama karaka yam chanu shayinam prahur avyakritam utapare. Supreme Lord is not creating this material world for his own play or for his own, as people in this material world sarcastically say that the Supreme Lord is not at all compassionate, not merciful, he is causing me trouble. So much, my life is full of miseries. It is not Lord is creating this miserable world, as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dukkhalaya Mashashvatam. Hetur Jiva se sarga der. Sarga adi etc. creation and everything is happening because of Jiva's desire. It is Jiva who desired to enjoy separate from the Lord. Lord is only facilitating. Yam chanu shayinam prahur avyakritam utapare. Because of ignorance, Jiva might be engaged in sinful activities in the material world in order to enjoy the sense objects. But the Supreme Lord is always careful enough to provide necessary facilities so that Jiva can come back to Godhead and reunited with him as his family member. This is Lord's mercy upon the conditioned souls. For this purpose, the Lord not only created living entities with full of ignorance, Lord had given all the faculties that are required for a Jiva to enjoy properly here and to go back to Godhead. How? Buddhindriya manapranam jananam asrujat prabhu matrarchancha bhavartamcha atmane kalpanayacha. The Supreme Lord had given us buddhi, intelligence, indriya, the senses, karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, mana, the mind, prana, the 10 pranas, prana, apana, samana, udyana, etc. Jnanam, jananam asrujat prabhu. The Supreme Lord created all the living entities being endowed with all these sense faculties, so that utilizing all these faculties, we can engage in matrartham in order to enjoy the sense objects in one's lifetime. If one is not satisfied with the enjoyment that is offered by one particular body, the Lord gives the facility that, okay, no problem, you can go to some other body. Right now, enjoy as a human being, then next life, enjoy as the Devata, next life, enjoy as Asura, next life, enjoy as animal and plant, etc. etc. Bhavartham means moving from one species to other species. Once you are done with your enjoyment, Atmane Kalpanayacha, endeavor to come back to me. This is all Lord's mercy in order to provide all these different facilities. So this is mentioned as Stri Vichakrame Vishwam Shasananasane Ube Yed Avidyacha Vidyacha Purushas Tubay Ashraya. The Supreme Lord made proper facilities for Jiva's fulfillment of all desires. He had given 2 faculties known as Avidya and Vidya. By taking shelter of Avidya, that is ignorance, forgetting oneself or one's own position as the eternal servant of Lord Krishna, Jivera Sarupai, Krishnera Nityadas, or Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So one can enjoy in this material world. Following the rules and regulations given in Vedic literature, Shasana. It is not that enjoyment can be done anyway, not like that. The Supreme Lord guides the living entity in order to enjoy in a proper, bona fide way. Enjoyment is not wrong, but doing in a wrong way is wrong. So one need to follow the Shasana, which are prescribed in the Vedic literature, then it is okay. Then there will be no more Karma Bandhana. And then Anasana, following Vidya, one can go back to Godhead. For the living entity, taking shelter of Avidya goes from one species to other species. But by taking shelter of Vidya, following the rules prescribed in the Vedic literature from the section of Vidya, can go back to Godhead. Everything is ordained and supervised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sattvam Rajas Tamayiti Nirgunasya Gunastraya Sthiti Sarga Nirodeshu Grihita Mayo Vivu. So what is this Vidya and Avidya? So somebody might have a doubt. So now let us see what they are. So Bhagavatam says that Sattvam Rajas Tamayiti Nirgunasya Gunatraya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated beyond the purview of three modes of material nature, Nirgunasya, had accepted Maya, who is consisting of Sattvaguna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna, three modes of material nature. Taking her support or accepting her, the Supreme Lord creates this material world, Sarga, maintains the material world, Sthiti, annihilates the material world whenever time comes, Nirodha, Grihita Maya Vidu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead known as Mahavishnu accepts Maya. Through Maya, he creates, maintains and annihilates this material world. And Maya has three functions to perform. In three ways, Maya assists Mahavishnu in order to fulfill the desire of Jiva and also the desire of Vishnu. Desire of Jiva is to enjoy, desire of Vishnu is to take back Jiva back to Godhead. So both are accomplished, facilitated by Maya. So Maya's three functions are, the first one is known as Pradhana. Maya's another name is Pradhana. Pradhana is nothing but Guna Maya. That portion of Maya made up of three modes of material nature. From Pradhana, Mahavishnu creates 24 material elements. By the combination of these 24 material elements, Mahavishnu creates unlimited Brahmandas. And in each and every Brahmanda, he creates 14 planetary systems. In each and every planetary system, he creates unlimited variety of living entities whose bodies are made up of the same 24 material elements. So Pradhana creates 24 elements, which are the main principal cause of the creation of the universe, 14 planetary system within the universe, and all of our bodies, the body of the human being, the body of the animal, plant, Devata, Asura, and the great sages, everyone's body is made up of the same 24 elements, which are facilitated by Pradhana, which is the first function of Maya Devi. The second function of Maya Devi is Avidya, which bewilders the Jiva with her 5 coverings. So Bhagavatam 3rd canto 12th chapter, it is mentioned that this Avidya had 5 functions to perform. These 5 functions are Tamas, Moha, Mahamoha, Tamishra, and the Tamishra. So they are also known as Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. Whenever Jiva comes to this material world, Jiva is given a material body made up of 24 elements which are manifested from Pradhana. But along with that body, the Jiva is covered by 5 layers of Avidya. The first layer of Avidya and its function is, it is called Tamas or Avidya. One forgets one is an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. One is an Amsha of the Supreme Lord. Tamo Aviveka. Tamas means one forgets about one's real identity. And then there should be some identity for the Jiva. Jiva cannot be without identity. Then that is the function of Moha. Or Asmita gives different identity. Moham Syad Antakarana Vibrama. Because of Asmita, the jiva gets identity of the body. The soul's identity is entirely different. But as long as jiva resides in the body, because of asmita, the jiva identifies oneself with the body. As long as the jiva living in the human body, one thinks oneself as the human being, as the male, female, boy, adult, old, etc. Or devata or any other being. Thus, the second function of avidya gives different identity in this material world. But while staying in this material world, like that, there are many living entities who are identifying along with their body. Whoever is giving us that enjoyment, whoever is fulfilling our desire to enjoy in this material world, we make friendship with them. Thus, we develop attachment with them. That is raga, or that is called mahamoha, great moha. That means mahamohastu vijnayo gramya bhoga sukaishuna. Those living entities who are helping us enjoy the material happiness, we develop friendship with all of them. But there is a problem. Limited resources, unlimited competition. Because of which there is one sense object, there are two people who want to enjoy the same sense object. There is a conflict between these two. That is called tamishra or dvesha. When two people want to enjoy the same sense object, there is a conflict between these two. So people develop enmity with those people. But finally, in the subconscious mind, everyone knows that there is something called death. Death means full stop to all my enjoyment. So before death comes, let me enjoy as much as possible. That is called abhinivesha or andhatamishra. Fear of death. Because of fear of death, living entity is absorbed in material pleasure. Maranam hi andhatamishram. So because of that fear, jiva continues to enjoy more and more. Try to enjoy more and more. As a result, one commits sinful activities. As a result, one is supposed to take birth after birth, birth after birth. Thus, one is bound in this material world. The five functions of avidya binds a jiva in this material world by these five coverings, known as avidya, forgetfulness of one true identity, asmita, giving different identity with respect to the body, raga, making friends with others who are giving enjoyment, dvesha, those who are making enmity with those who are obstructing our enjoyment, abhinivesha, before death comes, let me enjoy as much as possible. For that, one commits sinful activities, one is bound by karma, one is taking birth again and again in this material world. Avidya binds a jiva in this material world. So pradhana provides the body, avidya provides false identity. Because of these two, jiva is bound in this material world. Then what is the way out of this bondage? Vidya. Vidya is that knowledge which destroys the five types of ignorance and awards one liberation. This is the third function of Maya. By taking shelter of Vidya, one can come out of the bondage of avidya and become qualified to attain liberation. Go back to Vidya avidya mamatanu vidhi uddhava shariranam moksha bandha kari adye maya me vinirmite. My dear Uddhava, Lord Krishna speaking to Uddhava in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam. My dear Uddhava, kindly understand that vidya avidya mamatanu, both vidya and avidya are my body. They are manifestation from my body. Moksha bandha kari adye maya me vinirmite. By Maya, I have facilitated Vidya and Avidya in this material world. By taking shelter of Vidya and Pradhana and Avidya, Jiva is bound in this material world. By taking shelter of the body and being covered by the Avidya, Jiva is bound in this material world. And the same way, by taking shelter of this body and taking shelter of Vidya, the same bound Jiva can become Mukta, can become liberated. Moksha bandhakari adye maya me minirmite. I have created this universe with the help of Maya, which facilitates in three ways. In the form of pradhana, in the form of avidya, in the form of vidya. Pradhana gives us the body, avidya gives us false identity because of which you are born in this material world. If you take, by using this body and take shelter of vidya, we can become qualified to go back to Godhead. Hrideha madhyam sulabam sudurlabam plavam sukalpam guru karma dharam. Mayana kulena nabasvateritam kuman bhavabdim nataret sa atmaha. Which is also in the from the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, where it says that Hrideha madhyam, this human body is very rarely obtained, but somehow or other it is obtained to us. It acts like a suitable boat to cross over this Bhavasagara. How we can cross over this Bhavasagara? By accepting a guru who is the captain of the ship, and by accepting the prescriptions given in the Vedic literature. which are like the favorable winds. In the olden days, the boats are driven by wind only. Na taresa atma. If one does not take shelter of this body, the spiritual master, the captain of the boat, and the Vedic literatures, which are the favorable winds, such person is atmaha, killing one's own soul. Thus, body actually facilitates our deliverance. So then, pumshosti prakritir nitya. The prakriti of the Lord is as eternal as the Lord, because prakriti is Lord's potency. Just like prakriti is eternal, her divisions or her functions, pradhana, avidya, and vidya, are also eternal. Pradhana creates the coverings. Pradhana gives us the upadhi by providing us the gross body and subtle body. Currently, we are thinking ourselves as a human being, a male, brahmachari, or so and so. So many identities we have, or others will have different identities. And avidya creates the imposition of the body, which is false. If I think myself as a human being, as a man, this is all due to avidya, which are all false imposition on jiva. Vidya destroys that false identity and awards liberation. So by taking shelter of vidya, one can get rid of this false conception. So now question is, we have seen what is avidya. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Then what is vidya? In Narada Pancharatra, Narada Muni says, Sankhya yoga cha vairagyam tapo bhaktischa keshave pancha parvaiva vidya. O Keshava, vidya has 5 things. What are they? Sankhya. Sankhya means jnana yoga. Yoga means ashtanga yoga. Vairagyam, detachment. Tapa, tapasya. Bhakti, bhakti. So, vidya consists of these 5 things. Jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, vairagya, tapasya, and bhakti. And that which facilitates to perform all these 5 functions is karma yoga. To be more precise, it is nishkama karma yoga. Acharyas include nishkama karma yoga also part of vidya. Thus, vidya means 6 items. Nishkama karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, vairagya, tapasya, and bhakti yoga. These are the 6 angas of vidya. Those who take shelter of these 6 items or 6 angas of vidya can become qualified to attain liberation. That is how Maya facilitates for our enjoyment in this material world and for our liberation from this material world. So, how that vidya appears to us? We are hearing that vidya means nishkama karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, tapasya, vairagya, bhakti. It is manifested through Brahma, through the personality of Brahma in the form of 4 Vedas, 4 Vedas, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharvaveda, and 4 Upavedas, 6 Vedangas, Shiksha, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chanda, Kalpa, Jyotisha, and 4 Upavedas, Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda, and Stapatya or Artha Shastra, and also 4 Shastras, which includes the 18 Puranas, Nyaya Shastra, Mimamsa, and Dharma Shastras. Like this, different category of Vedic literatures are nothing but the manifestation of Vidya. From these 18 types of Vedic Shastras, 4 Vedas, 4 Upavedas, 4 Shastras, and 6 Vedangas, total put together 18. We can understand what is Vidya is all about and how to practice Vidya. By practicing Vidya, what we attain. Everything will be detailedly discussed in all these 18 angas of Vedic literature. So now let us come to third canto of Bhagavatam. Lord Vishnu had created 24 elements from Pradhana. By combining those 24 elements, the same Lord Vishnu had created the universes. And by combining the same 24 elements, the same Lord Vishnu had created 14 planetary systems in the form of lotus flower, which is coming from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And that Lord Vishnu empowered, having created Lord Brahma on top of the lotus flower, empowered Lord Brahma to continue on the creation further. That Lord Brahma, dividing the lotus into 14 planetary systems, he created the festivities to stay, the abodes to stay. And then by taking the same 24 elements and the 5 functions of avidya, combining these 24 plus 5, 29 elements, Lord Brahma created bodily structures for various living entities. which are primarily categorized into 4 divisions. The first division is all the variety of immobile plants and trees. Second variety is all the different variety of lower conscious animals, which include aquatics, reptiles, mammals, birds, and human beings with endowed consciousness. Different variety of superhuman beings consisting of the devatas, asuras, yakshas, rakshasas, gandharvas, apsaras, kinnaras, kimpurusas, siddhacharana, vidyadharas, pitrus, sadhyas, and bhuta, preta, pishachas. All these were created by Lord Brahma by combining the 24 elements manifested from Pradhana and the 5 functions manifested from Avidya. The Jiva residing in all these variety of living entities identifies themselves with respect to the particular body. As long as living in the body of the Devata, I am Devata, I am Sura. Living in the body of human being, I am human being, I am this, I am that. This is all due to Avidya. But Lord Brahma was not happy by creating this different variety of living entities. So then, Drishtva papiyashim sushtim natmanam bahu amanyata. Having seen this sinful creation of living entities in the category of so many varieties, asuras, rakshasas, bhuta, preta, pishachas, there are sinful beings. Lord Brahma was not at all satisfied. Then what he did? Bhagavad Dhyana Putena. He purified his consciousness by meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Manasayanam tato asrujat. With that purified consciousness, then he began to create other set of living entities. Of course, they are all there, but now he is creating a different variety of living entities with the purified consciousness. For the first time, with that purified consciousness, Brahma created the 4 Kumaras: Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara, and Sunanda, who are not interested in performing any material activities and who are strict in Brahmacharya. And Lord Brahma created these 4 Kumaras as the preachers of 4 angas of Vidya. Vidya contains 6 angas: Nishkama Karma, Jnana, Yoga, Tapasya, Vairagya, and Bhakti. Out of these 6, the 4 Kumaras appeared as the acharyas of the 4 angas of Vidya. All these 4 personalities are the acharyas for preaching Sankhya Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Tapasya, and Vairagya. It is their responsibility. They are the teachers of preaching these 4 angas of Vidya. And they are doing this from the beginning of the creation till the end of the creation. This is their service. And in a way, we also hear from first chapter of the Bhagavatam, the first canto only. Lord also appeared in the form of 4 Kumaras. The 4 Kumaras are in the category of Shakti Avesh Avataras. The 4 Kumaras are endowed with Jnana Shakti of the Supreme Lord. They are supposed to preach Jnana, all the items associated with Jnana, Jnana, Ashtanga Yoga, Tapasya, Vairagya. So they are the teachers, they will preach, they teach, they set an example for others, how to practice, etc. But Sankhya, Yoga, Tapasya, and Vairagya alone does not give the expected results. They need to have Bhakti as an integral part. The 4 Kumaras always teach Sankhya, Yoga, Tapasya, or Vairagya by including Bhakti in it. That's why whatever they teach, that is called as Bhakti Mishra Jnana or Bhakti Mishra Yoga. Tapasya is a prerequisite to practice Jnana. Vairagya is a prerequisite to practice Ashtanga Yoga. Without sufficient detachment, one cannot practice Ashtanga Yoga. Without determined to practice austerities, one cannot practice Jnana. So the other 2 are prerequisites of the Jnana and Yoga. So they principally teach Bhakti Mishra Jnana and Bhakti Mishra Yoga. So then, this is a funny story comes in the 12th chapter, 3rd canto. Then Brahmaji told, my dear sons, please get married. 4 Kumaras said, no way, we don't want to marry. Brahmaji became angry, but he understood the intention of 4 Kumaras. As he was about to control the anger came out in the form of Rudra. So just like Vidya destroys Avidya, sometimes even a person of knowledge because of lack of proper control can destroy one's intelligence. Good intelligence also may behave in a wrong way. So that is the function represented by Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a person indicated as angry personified. The function of anger is destruction. So Lord Shiva is a person not of angry, but Lord Shiva's service is function of angry. That is destruction of the universe whenever a time comes. So then Lord Brahma was not happy. What is this? What I am doing? I have created Shiva, and he requested Shiva to beget children. Shiva begot children, and those children are so disastrous that they came to eat a Brahma only. They were so angry that they came to eat a Brahma, and Brahma requested Shiva, my dear son, please don't do such kind of creations. Please, you sit and meditate. That is good for you and good for the universe. So from then on, Lord Shiva sits in the meditation pose. We see all the pictures of Lord Shiva like that only. Then again Brahma sat and meditated. Then by his meditation, Lord Brahma created 10 wonderful sons from his different body limbs. They are, from his mind, Marichi came. From his eyes, Atri came. From his face, Angira came. From his hands, Pulasya came. From his navel, Pulaha came. From his From his ears, Pulasya came. From his nabi, Pulaha came. From his hands, Kratu came. From his tvacha, skin, Bhrugu came. From his prana, Vasishta came. From his angushta, Daksha came. And from Ustanga, one meaning of this Ustanga is lap, another meaning is deliberation. From Lord Brahma's deliberation, there appeared Narada Muni. Like this, 10 Manasa Putras appeared from Lord Brahma's meditation in order to create the living entities. So out of this 10, the first 9 consisting of Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulasya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrugu, Vasishta, Daksha and their descendants, they all appear to preach Karma Yoga. Principally, Nishkama Karma Yoga. It is their service. Karma Yoga alone does not give the expected results. It should have Bhakti in it. So they preach Bhakti Mishra Karma. That's why it is called as Nishkama Karma Yoga. When Karma mixes with Bhakti, that becomes Bhakti Nishkama Karma Yoga. So it is like that. Ultimately, the one thing which is giving results of Jnana, Ashtanga Yoga or Karma Yoga, it is Bhakti. That Bhakti represented by Narada Muni appeared at the end. Finally, of course, from this among these 10 sons, the last one appeared was Narada, who represents Bhakti, who is the teacher of Bhakti. So it is mentioned that without Bhakti, none of the other process can give any expected results. Why so? Because Shastra says so. Shastra tells that without Bhakti, either Karma, Jnana, Yoga or any other things, whatever we may do in this world, does not give the expected results. How? Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastram Japas Tapaha Apranasaiva Dehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. Just like a person who is called as a living entity, there should be prana, there should be life. Without prana, we cannot say that person is living. If somebody dies, we say that unka pran chala gaya. जब तक प्राण है उनका वैल्यू है. जब तक एक आदमी जीवित है तब तक जो भी भूषण आभूषण आर ऑफ सम यूज. Without prana, any decorations we do, they are like mandanam lokaranjanam, decorating the dead body. It may be for the satisfaction of the family members. The dead body might be decorated before it going to the cremation ground, but it is not of much enjoyment. Only a live person's decoration is of some value. Just like prana is so important for the living entity, bhakti is so important for Nishkama Karma, Jnana, Yoga, Ashtanga, everything. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati, Shastram, Japas, Tapas, any other things are all lifeless without Bhakti. Naishkarmapi Achyuta Bhavavarjitam Nashobhate Jnana Malam Niranjanam Kuta Punasta Dabadram Ishware Nacharpitam Karma Yadakaranam. Here it says that, the 5th chapter only, in the previous chapter, without Bhakti, neither Jnana, nor Nishkama Karma, nor Sakama Karma are of no use. They does not have any meaning to practice. Tapasvino, Dana Para, Yashasvino, Manasvino, Mantravida, Sumangala, Kshemam na Vindanti, Vinaya Darpanam. One may do tapasya, dana, One may do glorify activities of charitable activities of constructing temples, constructing water ponds, etc. So many glorification things. Manasvino might be practicing Ashtanga Yoga. Mantravida might be expert in chanting Vedas. Sumangala might be performing auspicious activities for the welfare of the society in general. Kshemam na vindanti, they does not get the expected results if they do not offer all those activities to Supreme Lord. Vina yadarpanam. Without offering unto your lotus feet, they do not get any results. Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Nama. I will offer obeisance unto your lotus feet. Like that, Sukadeva Goswami praying unto Lord Vishnu. Yat karmabir yat tapasa jnana vairagya. Yat karmabir yat tapasa jnana vairagyashchayat. Yogena dana dharmena shreyobi ritere rapi. Sarvam mad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labate anjasa. By practicing karma, by practicing tapasya, jnana, vairagya, yoga, dana, dharma, shreya, other welfare activities, whatever benefit one may want to get, bhakti can avoid everything easily without performing any of the other things. Even if one wants to practice any other thing without bhakti, they cannot get results. They need to practice all those other things plus bhakti. And here the Bhagavatam says that if you just practice bhakti, you get the results of all other things. Sarvam mad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labate anjasa. Very easily they will be obtained by my devotee. Anjasa means very easily. Swarga, apavargam, maddama katanchi dadivanchiti. Even if they want to go to Swarga, they want to go to apavarga, that means Sahyajya Mukti, or maddama, they want to come to Vaikunta. Everything will be obtained to them. Of course, my devotees do not want all those things. My devotees only want seva. Even though if they want to Aishwarya in Vaikunta, they will get it easily. This is the position of bhakti. And that bhakti is represented by Narada Muni. So thus, Narada Muni is the form of bhakti, the personified form of bhakti. So the Narada itself is an indicator of that name. Narayana Datati iti Narada. The one who gives Narayana is Narada. But Narada does not give Narayana. That bhakti which is taught by Narada Muni will give bhakti. This will give Narayana. That means Narada Muni is the personified form of bhakti. So tapasa vidya yukto yogena susamadina rishin rishi rishikesha sasarjabi mata praja. Of course, Lord Brahma with the whatever he has in his own personality, with their help he created. Lord Brahma created 4 Kumaras by tapasya, yoga, and vairagya, virakti, etc. By vidya, whatever vidya he possesses, with that vidya he created Narada Muni. And Narada Muni possesses bhakti. And 4 Kumaras possess all other things. That's how it is as part of the creation of this world, this universe. All these great rishis have been appeared in order to facilitate Jiva's journey back to Godhead. So, after the creation, Lord Brahma was satisfied and he was engaged in his daily activities. One day he got up, performed morning oblations and sat at leisure. Then Narada Muni came to him and inquired him something. Tam Narada Priyatamo Rikta Davanam Manuvrata Sushrushamane Shilena Parasena Damenacha Mayam Vividisham Vishnur Maye Shasya Maya Muni Mahabhagavato Rajan Pitaram Paryatoshayat Mayan Vividishan Vishnur Maye Shasya Mahamuni. In order to understand how Lord Vishnu, taking the help of Maya, creates, maintains, and annihilates this entire universe, with that desire, Narada Muni came to Lord Brahma and requested him to explain about this. And Narada Muni is indicated here as Rikta Danam. So in Sanskrit, Rikta means inheritance. Rikta Danam means a son who inherits the wealth of the father. Rikta Danam means a son who inherits the wealth of the father. Lord Brahma possesses the wealth in the form of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Out of his many sons, the Manasa Putras headed by Atri Pulasya Pulaha Kratu became inheritants of Karma Yoga. The 4 Kumaras became inheritants of Jnana Yoga, and Narada Muni became inheritant of Bhakti Yoga. Because Pitaram Paryatoshayat, because Narada Muni was dearmost son of Lord Brahma. Tushtam Nishamya Pitaram Lokanam Prapitamaham Devarshi Pari Paprucha Bhavanyan Manu Pruchati. So, seeing that Narada Muni was very obedient, very much surrendered, very much dedicated, and very much eager to serve his father, Lord Brahma gave the best of his possession to Narada Muni, that is Bhakti Yoga, and made him as the preacher of Bhakti Yoga. What did Lord Brahma give to Narada Muni? Tasma idam Bhagavatam Puranam Dasalakshanam Proktam Bhagavata Praha Prita Putraya Bhutakrit. My dear son, recently I have heard from Lord Narayana the very scripture known as Bhagavatam in the form of 4 slokas. And now I am giving you the 4 slokas. And this is called as Srimad Bhagavatam. And this Bhagavatam contains 10 Lakshanas. And because you are my dearmost son, I am giving you this. And after giving that Bhagavatam to Narada Muni, Lord Brahma requested a service from Narada Muni. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Enme Bhagavat Uditam. This is called, the scripture is called Bhagavatam. It was directly spoken by Bhagavan himself unto me. Sangrahoyam Vibhuti Nam. I have described you in brief. It is nothing but the Vibhutis of the Supreme, it is nothing but the exploits of the Supreme Lord. Tvamayeta Vipuli Guru. My dear son, may you kindly expand it and distribute it everywhere. Tvam Yeta Vipuli Guru. Kindly expand it, elaborate it, and present it to everywhere, whomsoever you come across. This is my Guru Dakshina from you. And then Lord Brahma said that, but kindly remember one thing. While doing so, you should follow one rule in distributing it. What was that rule? Yata harau bhagavati nunam bhaktir bhavishyati sarvatmani akiladare iti sankalpa varmaya. My dear son, make a sankalpa before distributing this Bhagavatam to whomsoever you come across. What is that sankalpa? Yata haro bhagavati nanam bhaktir bhavishyati. Whomsoever you may speak this Bhagavatam to, but in their heart bhakti should generate onto the lotus feet of that Supreme Lord, who is Akiladara, who is the source of everything, who is the fountainhead of everything that exists, on whom everything depends. Sarvatmani, who is the soul of everyone, who is Paramatma of everything. So with that sankalpa, kindly distribute this Bhagavatam, whomsoever you come across, wherever you might go. Sarvatmani Akiladare iti sankalpa varnaya. This instruction was given by Lord Brahma at the very beginning of the creation. And Narada Muni, as an obedient son, following that instruction of Brahma. Why Lord Brahma gave that instruction specifically to Narada Muni? Mayam varnayo tamushya ishwarasyan modata shrunvato shraddhaya nityam shrunvatas maya atma namuyati. Those people who hear about Lord's exploits, which Lord Narayana spoke to Brahma, Brahma spoke to Narada Muni. And from Narada Muni, whoever hears those exploits in relation to material nature in the form of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, providing for jivas enjoyment and providing for jivas liberation, those living entities, those devotees who hear this, Maya Atma Namuyati, those people are not bewildered by Maya. So for that reason, one should hear Shrunvato Shraddhaya Nityam. One should hear every day with faith. That is the reason Brahma, as a representative of Lord Vishnu, taught this to Narada Muni and gave the instruction to preach wherever he went. And this was the last verse of the 7th chapter of the 2nd canto. And at the very beginning of the 8th chapter of the 2nd canto, Parikshit Maharaj asked a question to Sukadeva Goswami. He says that Brahmana chodito Brahman gunakyane gunasya yasmai yaha praha narado deva darshana. So my dear Sukadeva Goswami, kindly tell me, following the instruction of Lord Brahma, where all Narada Muni went, to whom Narada Muni preached this bhakti, this Bhagavatam, and what kind of transformation took place in those people. Kindly tell about all the exploits of Narada Muni. Etad vedati michami tatvam tattva vidam vara. You knower of the truth, kindly tell me everything completely in truth. This was the request of Srila Parikshit Maharaj in the 8th chapter of the 2nd canto. In order to answer this question of Parikshit Maharaj, Sri Sukadeva Goswami speaks the entire Bhagavatam, wherein we see the role of Narada Muni everywhere from the beginning of Bhagavatam to end of Bhagavatam. And that Narada Muni, having understood the essence of Bhagavatam, eventually compiled Narada Bhakti Sutra, which is the very essence of Bhakti Yoga. And he propagated Bhagavatam as well as Narada Pakshasutra wherever he went. So we see in the Bhagavatam where all Narada Muni went, to whom all he preached Bhagavatam, starting with Swayambhu Manu and his sons Priyavrata, Uttanapada and their son Dhruva. And in their lineage, eventually, after King Prithu, there comes King Prachina Barhi, who was too much attached to Karmakanda rituals. But Narada Muni forcefully taught him, with the help of a alarical story of Puranjana, the importance of renunciation, the importance of taking up bhakti. And it is interesting that this conversation took place between Maitreya and Vidura. Vidura was hearing from Maitreya that Narada Muni was preaching to Prachina Barhi by the help of alarical story. And eventually, Prachina Barhi became detached, immediately went to forest and perfection. And Vidura was thinking in his mind, my brother is also somewhat like that only. My brother Dhritarashtra is also attached to kingly opulences. Still he is there in the kingdom only. After hearing this entire pastime, then after concluding the pastimes of Prachitas, immediately Vidura told, my dear sir, thank you very much for speaking all this. Thank you very much, I am going home. Vidura immediately came home and spoke in the same way, very strongly to Dhritarashtra and made Dhritarashtra quit home. That Narada Muni played a important role in that. And eventually, for Prachetas, Daksha, Narada Muni delivered the sons of Daksha, Haryashvas, Shavalashvas. Even though eventually not to deliver Daksha, he came to Daksha's home. But Daksha could not listen to Narada Muni. Instead, he cursed Narada Muni. And in the life of Chitraketu Maharaj also, Narada Muni played an important role. In the life of Prahlada, when Prahlada was in the womb of Kayadu, he spoke Bhagavatam to Prahlada. And even to Bali Maharaj. And especially when it comes to Krishna Katha, Krishna Lila, he played a very important role from the very beginning of Krishna Lila. After the Akashvani spoken, when Kamsa was arrested, when Vasudeva was arrested, when the first son was born, Kirtiman, Vasudeva brought that son to Kamsa. Kamsa said, no problem, take him. There is no problem with this. Then Narada Muni comes in order to fast the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So my dear Kamsa, you don't know, all the devatas appeared in the dynasty of Vrishni, Yadu, Madhava, Yadava, etc. All these are all, you are thinking your friends, but they are all devatas. They are eagerly waiting for your death. And devatas want your death. Don't believe in their words. Though they have said 8th Garbha, who knows, first or second, third, anyone could be Vishnu. Because in your previous life, you are Kalanemi. After Samudra Manthan episode, you are killed by Lord Vishnu. And although devatas are still enemies of Asuras, and they have appeared now in the dynasty, they want to kill you once again. So be careful. Then Kamsa started doing all the other things, killing all the sons, one after the other, etc. etc. That is how Narada Muni played the role that in order to make Vasudeva determined that no problem, I will give up my 6 sons, but I will see the death of Kamsa at the cost of my own misery. And eventually, after the passing of 10.5 years, when Krishna was performing so many wonderful pastimes in Vrindavan, on one day, on one particular Ekadashi, in the month of Palguna, Narada Muni again came to Kamsa. So my dear Kamsa, though Durga Devi told that the one who is supposed to kill you born somewhere else, but actually what happened, you know, he was born to Devaki only. It is Vasudeva who took him to the care of Nanda Maharaj. He is growing in Vrindavan as one nicely. And all the Asuras you have sent were actually killed by him only. That Krishna and Balaram, none other than sons of Vasudeva only. Then immediately Kamsa sent Akrura to Vrindavan. The next day, understanding what had happened, everything. The next day, after telling Kamsa here, Narada Muni went to Vrindavan and there he met Lord Krishna. So my dear Krishna, thank you very much that you have performed so many wonderful sweet pastimes in Vrindavan in order to attract all the simple devotees. Now it is time for you to come to Mathura and you need to perform all majestic opulent pastimes and also remove the burden of this earth. Now it is right time for you to come. So Narada Muni only indicated to Lord Krishna that now he has to move to Mathura and then perform later pastimes. So there also Narada Muni played a very important role. And then that Narada Muni himself is the spiritual master of the 5 Pandavas. Later on, when Lord Krishna married all the princes, 16,108, once Narada Muni visited the houses of all queens of Lord Krishna, and Narada Muni was treated by Lord Krishna very nicely, very wonderfully, everything. And Narada Muni was very much happy to see that Lord Krishna, in spite of marrying 16,108 wives, everyone is happy, because every wife is thinking that Lord Krishna is with me only. That Krishna is expanding in the form of 108, 16,108, and everyone is thinking Lord Krishna is with me only. I am the most dearest wife of Lord Krishna. They are all quite happy. But on the other hand, Draupadi, the dearest devotee of Lord Krishna, married 5 husbands. Krishna can expand into unlimited forms. Draupadi cannot. So Krishna is setting a good example. Yadyat Acharya Shrestha. Draupadi also need to set a good example. So immediately Narada Muni goes from Dwaraka to Indraprastha. There he tells the 5 Pandavas, my dear Pandavas, please do something. Make a condition in such a way that the world do not criticize you. Then they made the condition of 1 year with each person. I am concluding in 1 minute. So I am done. So the Pandavas made a condition that Draupadi will stay with one husband for 1 year. As a result of that condition, Arjuna is supposed to enter at one time into the inner chambers of Draupadi. He is supposed to go to forest for 12 years, during which the most important thing happened. Arjuna made alliance with many people. Arjuna married so many other wives, Ulupi and Chitrangada, and their sons played one of the important roles in the later Mahabharata. And during that 12 years period, Arjuna happened to marry Subhadra also. Because of that marriage, the Pandavas won over Mahabharata battle. The Dharma is established. Because in that battle, all the sons of Arjuna played a vital role. During the battle, Iravan and Abhimanyu played important role. After the battle, what is their name? Babruvahana played an important role in order to alleviate the curse of the Vasus upon Arjuna. It is Ulupi who instigated Babruvahana to kill Arjuna, and Ulupi revived Arjuna once again. So like that in the life of Pandavas, these 12 years played a major important role. And the reason is Narada Muni. And Draupadi set a good example of being a wife of multiple husbands. And after that, finally we see in the current section that the same Narada Muni came to Srila Vyasadeva and spoke to Narada Muni in such a way that the wonderful literature known as Bhagavatam manifested. The same Narada Muni previously became the guru of Valmiki, and he became the cause of Ramayana. So it is like that. So this is how Srila Narada Muni is representing Guru Tattva. He is the teacher of Bhakti, and he is another form of Bhakti personified. So following the instructions of Bhakti Vedantas, Narada Muni here, the boy, the son of the maid servant, had going to attain perfection, going to become Vishnu Jana. Same way, following the teachings of Sri Narada Muni, which is Bhakti, any living entity can become a Vishnu Jana. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Sorry for taking over time. Hare Krishna.